Hi, just to let you know that this was recorded before the announcement that Stephen Moffat will be leaving Doctor Who, so our comments in this episode don't reflect the reality of the situation currently. But it's a good episode anyway, so enjoy. Hello and welcome to the Cynical Optimist review of Doctor Who Series 9. I am Hadowink.
And I am NGM.
We came to you last time with a review of Star Wars The Force Awakens, but now we're kicking it up to the different sci-fi. This one's on the TV box.
This is funny actually, because when I saw Force Awakens, I thought about Doctor Who. It was one of the first things I thought about after watching The Force Awakens, because I just thought, wow, sci-fi can age well. And then you got Doctor... Actually, no, to be fair, this series has been fairly strong for Doctor Who, with a few letdowns.
Yeah, I will say that we're not really big fans of Moffat. If you watched our Doctor Who... You should probably preface this. If I remember, I'll put an annotation in the video. Go watch our Doctor What, I think the episode was called, of Cynical Optimists, where I believe we give a full rundown of our history of Doctor Who.
And a rant. Well, mostly a rant.
It's if you need any context to any of our statements that we don't give context to, it's probably got context there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought, should we talk generally about the season last?
Let's talk... Yeah, okay.
And just start talking about the episodes.
I think, I was a bit introduction. I said I'll give a little bit of an introduction towards our problem with some of Moffat's episodes. Is I think, like, we're not just going to sort of rage about him because we do. But I think, like, the problem is, like, we know he can write well.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is he just writes smug most of the time these days.
Yeah, it's like that kid who sits at the back of the class just doing nothing.
Yeah.
But the teacher knows he's really actually quite smart and he's not just applying himself. Stephen Moffat is just drawing dicks all over his homework, essentially. Like, when he tries, his essays can be really good, but nope, he knows he's smart, and so therefore he doesn't have to try and just draws giant phalluses and hands it in.
That's exactly it. Nicely put. Okay, so Series 8, let's give a bit of context about that. We liked it generally, didn't we?
In general, it was stronger than most of the Matt Smith era. And I think it just suffered from a bit of poor writing in times. Yeah. Like, the episode that everyone seems to love, but neither of us seem to like, is that one, Listen, or whatever it's called.
Oh, God.
The one where, despite the fact Gallifrey is lost, they somehow end up on Gallifrey and no one gives a shit. And Clara hides under the Doctor's bed and gives him a speech that makes him everything he is.
I know, and plus, don't forget, she also showed him to his TARDIS, and she's also stopped him from destroying the Time Lords, and she's also fucking magic, and she's also impossible, and she's also not Clara.
Before he goes to sleep, she like pops up out of nowhere and goes, "Did you remember to brush your teeth, Doctor?"
She's just a bit of an annoying character who's like in the middle of everything, so I'm not really a big fan of Clara. But Listen was... I think Russell T Davies said a few years back on the possibility of a young Doctor Who spin-off. He said you don't go into the Doctor's childhood. I think he said that in more or less those words.
Yeah. But then Stephen Moffat says a lot of things.
No, Russell T Davies said that.
Russell T Davies,
and then,
sorry.
Russell T Davies said something like, don't go into the Doctor's childhood. Yeah. And then Moffat must have not got that memo. I mean, of course, it's his...
Moffat does what he wants.
His show at the moment, but, I mean, I think Russell T Davies on that occasion was probably right.
Yeah, I think he was right. Sorry, I don't think I was listening, sorry.
That's all right.
I misheard.
That's all right, I'm ranting again.
It's fine.
So let's move on from Series 8.
So, are we going to just start with the first episode? Well, we'll start...
That's a logical place to start.
We're going to try and spend about 10 minutes on each two-parter, about 5 minutes on each single episode, just so this video doesn't take 2 hours or... something. I mean, if it gets too long, I might have to split it in half.
Yeah.
But then it just looks like we're uploading more, so...
Or it'll be like Doctor Who Series 6.
Yeah, and we'll split it in two halves, and then we'll open
with an episode about Hitler.
That is completely terrible.
What
Essentially,
a nerdy joke that was.
Yeah,
no one's got that, have they?
if we split it in half, we'll open the second half by just blowing raspberries down the microphone for the first 5 minutes.
Oh, we're such nerds. I don't care.
Well, we're doing a podcast about film and TV, of course we are.
I know, but we just made an in
And
joke.
games.
We just made an in joke about Doctor Who. Okay, right. Let's start from episode 1 because that's logical.
The Magician's Apprentice. Now this one has, it's got the little boy Davros on the, which I liked that idea.
It was definitely one of the most interesting things they've done.
Yeah.
Throwing two genius minds together and like sort of having actual backstory and history between them was smart. I think the problem with this episode is that they smugged it up a bit, didn't they?
There's too much fluff in this episode. There's too many Moffatisms, and there's just far too much fluff.
Yeah, like the tank bit.
The fact that when the planes all freeze in the sky, they call the school teacher to come help out Unit, the supposed experts.
And then they make a Twitter reference because...
And then she points out something really obvious. I can't remember what it was, but I remember thinking, that's obvious. And everyone at Unit was like, she's a genius!
And then Missy's weird CGI face, like sort of exploding out of that Unit screen as well, was odd.
Yes. Missy in general was odd, although mostly it's good at odd for most of it.
I mean, I think she's actually an alright character, but again, I just think it's, don't put her in such. I hate it when the story
if she was given better lines as well, it'd help.
Yeah, I just felt the episode was really smug.
There's bits I absolutely hated about the episode, like the bit with the tank.
Oh, it's just pointless.
Yeah.
Gibberish.
And the fact that he's playing like an electric guitar in like the past.
Yeah.
And like I know that he's like a Time Lord and everything, but surely one person there was literate enough to write that down.
I know. Plus,
and ruin time.
It felt like a Matt Smith thing to do. Like, I know he's still the Doctor, but it's like Capaldi has his own Doctor. But I liked quite a lot of Capaldi with the guitar in episodes, but yeah, that was not a strong moment. I don't know why. It just fell flat, and the planes freezing, I just hated.
It gets forgotten about pretty quickly anyway.
That over-dramatic woman from Khan, she does my head in.
The rip-off of the cantina from Star Wars with all the aliens.
And the Snake Man.
God,
there's a lot of...
The Snake Man, it felt like Stephen Moffat saw Harry Potter and just now associates all villains with snakes.
And plus it was hilarious because he looked like he was one of those little hoverboard Segway things, sort of just floating around in a really funny way. They could have slowed him down a bit.
I don't understand what the Daleks are using with a random Snake Man.
He's literally got all the Daleks there.
And they've literally got humans that they can put the Daleks into now.
Which is dumb, but...
Which is stupid, but they've got that.
They've got that. We don't like that they've got that, but they have.
Like, I know the Snake Man comes into play in the second part.
To get into the Doctor's chair or something.
Yeah, something's silly.
Anyway, decent cliffhanger, which we hadn't had in a little while.
Yeah.
That was fun. Which leads us on to The Witch's Familiar. Which was good. Really good. I think.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it was better when it was the Capaldi and Davros.
Oh yeah, those scenes
chatting. The two actors had great chemistry with each other.
Yeah,
and all the lines of dialogue were great, and they really looked like they were enjoying doing it.
Yeah, and Julian Bleach's return was a really good, nice surprise, which I just did not see coming. Yeah, that was a great episode. I think having proper written dialogue without messy Moffatisms in the way was just that's when he's at his best, isn't he?
Yeah,
like it's just undistracted, just simple storytelling, and it worked.
I think one thing that just glared out at me with the first time I watched those two episodes was surely there is more than one person in the universe called Davros. So I thought it'd be funny if that just wasn't Davros, it was just someone else called Davros, and the Doctor was like, nah, screw you. It's like if the Doctor came across someone called Adolf and was like, but what if he's Hitler?
But the problem with this episode, as good as I thought it was, is that it also meant the Doctor gave up his sonic screwdriver, and hence the introduction of
the sonic specs.
Anyway.
Yes, I mean, we weren't really huge fans of those. Like, they just looked a bit gimmicky.
Mm.
Like, I know in a lot of interviews after that, Stephen Moffat was like, well, the sonic screwdriver was only meant to be a joke thing anyway when it was introduced, which might have been true. But, like, it became, like, a thing, and in recent years it's been taken a lot more seriously, and it's been made to look distinct. It'd be like
it's part of the iconography, isn't it, of Doctor Who?
It'd be like if the sonic screwdriver was literally just a Phillips screwdriver. Like, it literally said Phillips on it and everything.
Mm.
And that was like... And it was just... Yeah, I didn't like the fact that... They weren't particularly special sunglasses either. They were just aviators, weren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty cool. But... Yeah. They shouldn't exist, really.
But I think that's just our opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
All of this is our opinion, but that was particularly our opinion.
That was... yeah, it wasn't a big downfall of the series, obviously, but it could have... I'm not really sure it needed it. Under the Lake.
Under the lake. Under the lake.
What's that?
Into the woods?
Oh, no.
No, I didn't.
Under the Lake.
Under the lake.
Etc. Yeah, that was a good one. Really like that.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good... It was... Because obviously it was all... Anything in, like, any kind of underwater base or space base or anything, it's going to have that kind of built-in claustrophobia? Claustrophobia, because they can't get away.
People who are scared of... I know that is genuinely it. Oh, I don't know. Claustrophobic.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that is it.
Yeah. And, like, the whole idea of, like, the ghosts and them being, like, the whole story around them and the people gradually dying. It was slightly by the numbers, but I still think it was really good.
And it was quite scary.
Yeah, it was yeah.
Creepiest sort of monsters and visuals in a little while. With great sets, great actors. Had the guy from The Dark Knight in it, which was cool. Cool cliffhanger. I liked the separation element. I liked the fact that there's a lot of technology involved and it was all more or less explained. Yeah,
it all... Like, the thing is, I think it might have been Moffat that said that he doesn't like the pseudoscience explanations.
Yeah.
But I do. So that will be another difference of opinion thing, but I do like when the Doctor does that thing where he talks and he explains it, and like, even if that's a load of bullshit he just spewed, he's explaining it, he's not just saying...
Yeah. Like, yeah, I think
going back on ourselves slightly, that's what I didn't like about Missy's thing, is she goes, how am I alive? Fuck it, I don't know.
Because fuck you, that's why. Or when like he got the cup of tea, that was one of the
and he was like,
moments.
Yeah, that was one of the weak moments. He was like, how do I get a cup of tea? Because I'm the Doctor. It doesn't need to make sense. Something like that. And it was literally just...
It's like, yes, it does.
You could see Stephen Moffat when he was writing it. He was writing with one hand and literally had his middle finger to the monitor with the other. Fuck you, I don't need to explain
I don't know why, but some of like the fans of Moffat's era like enjoy being arse sexed. That didn't really matter.
You try to say they enjoy being done up the bum?
By Moffat, yeah. No, not
screwed over.
Screwed over, yeah. They enjoyed being...
That's very odd phrasing.
I know, that was really odd phrasing. They enjoyed being given the middle finger to by...
yeah, the bait and switches and...
Yeah.
Like, the not really explaining it, the rushed explanations.
Yeah, like, sort of like rug pulls that aren't logical. Rug pulls that are just sort of thrown in there because fuck you, that's why. And that's whereas Under the Lake and Before the Flood, they had a element to them which was sort of believable.
And I like the idea that this situation had occurred, so the Doctor goes back in time to see what happened.
Yeah, I really liked that.
Like, he was like, he doesn't even need to he does end up interfering, but he doesn't need to. He just wants to go and see what happened, so it'd better inform him in like the present situation. I think Under the Lake was probably better than Before the Flood.
Yeah, I
in
agree.
My opinion.
Yeah.
Like, Before the Flood has really good bits, like the opening scene.
Fourth wall breaking, yeah.
Where he explains the bootstrap paradox to the audience,
like
before the
with scientific groundings as well. Sort of.
Yeah, and he explains it all really well and really like concisely and all that. That's really good. I really enjoy that opening bit.
Yeah, so did I. That it was a strong episode, not quite as strong as the previous one, but no, yeah, it was good. And but one thing I didn't like actually about most episodes so far we've talked about is the whole the Doctor's gonna die thing. Like they pull it in the first episode and then in that episode.
Yeah.
Plus, I think they did it a couple of times in the series before and the series before that. It's a bit. It just feels like a bit of a loose end that is just going to get swept over because the Doctor doesn't.
And they
die.
defeat the villain in Before the Flood pretty easily, don't they? He just talks to him until the flood arrives.
Yeah.
And then he drowns.
Yeah.
And the Doctor survives by going in his coffin or whatever.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, it was neat though.
I like the concept.
I liked the episode.
And I like the whole thing of going back, like, they go back in time, and they go back in time and go over their own timeline again. And, like, almost Back to the Future Part 2-ish. Like, they've done that once or twice before. Like, they did it with Father's Day, and obviously they showed, like, the negative ramifications. But, yeah, I did like the whole idea of it,
But I definitely preferred the first part. Under the Lake.
Yeah.
So far, so good, mostly.
We're getting through these. We're knocking them out. You're throwing them, and I'm hitting them with the bat.
I know. Yeah, this is going quickly. We might finish earlier than we expected.
We might be. Yeah, might get to go home early today, kids. It depends how much we get caught up talking about other episodes, I guess.
Which brings us neatly onto The Girl Who Died.
So I'll let Nick tell you.
Fucking shit! I couldn't stand this episode purely because it was just mostly lazy. They swapped Robin Hood's Merry Men for Vikings.
They had Jafar. Oh no, they had Simba's dad in the clouds. The only thing missing was James Earl Jones's voice.
Yeah. Oh, it's just like really bad, campy sort of 70s Doctor Who in that episode, wasn't there?
I thought. So
to be fair, I enjoyed Robot of Sherwood, the Robin Hood episode.
Yeah. It was incredibly stupid, but I enjoyed it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And then they just tried to do pretty much the same thing this time, but with some serious stuff sort of shoved in.
I'm not sure if you'd agree, but I thought it was decently directed in terms of the actors, at least. But I didn't think it was, like, some of the plot points were a bit meh.
A bit.
Yeah.
They literally created someone who's indestructible by shoving like a weird alien thing into her forehead.
You'd wonder why they just don't give those to the soldiers preemptively. No, it's because he powers it up, isn't it?
I know, but if why is immortality that easy?
Yeah, he just finds like
the most MacGuffin device.
Yeah.
The most it's the laziest. It's literally a plot device.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I don't really think I have much more to add to that.
Considering they built up... I mean, I know she gets arguably stronger as a character, Ashilda, or me, or whatever you want to call her. But, like, it's just like, they built her up quite a bit, and then it just turns out that she literally just lucked out with the MacGuffin. Because the Doctor remembered that episode where he was in Pompeii. And we were supposed to be excited about the fact that they finally mentioned why he looks like Peter Capaldi, only they didn't really.
No, and they didn't need to mention it either.
No.
Because, like, there have been characters who've played multiple characters in Doctor Who before.
Yeah.
And no one's, like, shrugged.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been as major.
Colin Baker was in Doctor Who before he was Doctor Who. And there wasn't an episode where he was like, why have I got Colin Baker's face? Let's save that girl from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's being meta for just the sake of it. That's not really adding.
I just think that production design was rubbish. I mean, like they didn't make the Vikings. I know Doctor Who is not the most historically accurate of shows, but like they made them cartoon Vikings.
Yeah, essentially.
With a cartoon baddie with an eye patch for some reason. I just couldn't stand that episode.
I think if you knew nothing about science or story structure, that probably was a great episode. Because I think I did the maths after I'd finished watching, and I think you'd have needed like thousands of electric eels for that plan.
Oh god, yeah, fuck, I haven't even mentioned the electric eels.
Because an electric eel creates a voltage for literally a fraction of a second.
I forgot about
that. And to create any kind of effect, they'd literally all need to do it in sync.
I hadn't even got to that. He literally, to solve the episode, he literally goes, hang on, there's some electric eels according to that baby. Let's go find the electric eels and do something with it. He literally listened. Oh God! A baby tells him to go and get electric eels.
In a riddle, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's because
Like what? Who the fuck wrote that? Oh, that was dire.
it's clearly somebody who's been reading too many of Jaden Smith's tweets. If babies could talk, they'd be the smartest of all of us.
Oh, you know, I nearly skimmed over the fucking electric eels. As you can tell, I only watched that episode once, so.
See, most of these I've only seen once, but I do remember them quite well, which
Yeah.
is notable, actually, because when I think back to some other series, I can't remember the episodes.
Yeah.
I can't at least remember what's important about them. Like, I remember that millions of people die in The Power of Three, but I can't remember why I cared or why I was watching. And then they just magically come back to life, I remember, and like no one gave a shit, and it was just okay. Oh, on to the next adventure.
The Woman Who Lived.
So the woman who lived, I like the fact that Under the Lake and Before the Flood split themselves up by one of them being all like horror and the other one being like detective, and then this one split itself up by being in two separate time zones.
Yeah.
Telling two connected but distinct stories. I thought that worked.
Yeah. Yeah,
It allowed for a broader
it's a
storytelling.
neat idea, but again, I thought.
I think aside from the conversations about immortality,
Oh yeah,
which
those
are well written,
Yeah,
and
I liked
those were
that.
interesting.
There's a theme developing here, isn't there? Oh, that wasn't a Stephen Moffat episode, though, was it?
No.
No.
I think other bits of it were a bit like the villain of
Again,
The Woman Who Lived.
who did the production design on?
Was literally the Cowardly Lion from Wizard of Oz.
Like the
And
Viking.
he tries to open the portal to Oz.
You had Brian Blessed in the previous episode, and then you had fucking Aslan from a pantomime as the.
Yeah, and there's no actual real threat in this episode. They just walk around talking, and then in the last 5 minutes, he tries something and just immediately gets stopped.
But yeah, again, the immortality conversations, and who was the comedian actor in it? Rufus Hale?
Yeah.
I liked him in it. He was pretty cool. Some of the scenes were all right, but again, I just didn't really like it. It didn't stick out much. There wasn't much memorable about it.
Yeah, when I think back, I know they were robbing a guy.
Oh yeah,
For
they
some
broke into a
reason.
house at some point, and
There was, for some reason, they were robbing a man,
yeah, I can't remember.
and the lion was like watching them from the shadows, whatever.
Yeah.
But then the lion just kind of shows up, is very ineffectual, is very quickly defeated,
Yeah.
and everyone just kind of goes about their day again.
Oh, it's had nothing to it, does it?
Like, it's not necessarily, like, bad too much, but it is incredibly rushed when you leave till like the 40th minute for the villain to do anything. Like I say, I'm glad they did spend all that time talking over the whole idea that me or a shield or whatever, she didn't ask for immortality. She was just kind of forced upon her.
Yeah.
And that stuff like the human mind, would it be able to remember much beyond like 100 years, and her diaries, and the fact that she's become almost like she's almost got a field of apathy.
If
what
there were
doesn't matter to her.
interesting episodes, like, we could have got a bit more of her character,
Yeah,
but there wasn't quite enough of it, I don't think.
yeah,
Nearly something promising.
yeah. So, yes,
That takes us on to...
we're already halfway through. We're knocking these
Bloody
out.
hell, I know. Oh, this was the best two-parter of the series, I'd say.
Yeah, so this is the Zygon Invasion, which, if you haven't seen it, is a direct follow-up to the 50th anniversary special. Although if you're a Doctor Who fan, I'm pretty sure you'd have seen the 50th anniversary special.
I'm pretty sure most people saw it anyway. Like,
Yeah.
even people who didn't have a clue what was going on.
Because it's the whole idea that at the end of that, I think the immediate thing that I thought at the end of that was, it wasn't just two Osgoods, was it? It was those
Two boxes. That was at the end of...
No, there were two blonde ladies as well in the 50th special.
Oh yeah.
Like
Kate.
there's two Kates as well, and this one there's just one Kate, and no one really
Cares.
They spent all this
No
time
one really
reminding.
cares. That's it.
But they spend so much time reminding you of what happened, and then forget themselves.
Yeah. I wasn't that fussed about that sort of thing. Cause
Like, it was something I could overlook. Like, I didn't sit there bothered by it the entire two-parter.
Yeah, I was really
But it
thinking,
was
I
something
could do
that-
with another Kate. But I thought it was a great episode. It reminded me strongly of the Sontaran stratagem, or whatever the second part was, Poison Sky.
Yeah.
Back in series 4, it was similar tone.
Yeah.
It was cool. One of those good unit stories.
Yeah. I did like the group that it was literally just a very small group of Zygons. And the whole idea that actually most Zygons are happy living here.
It's so political as well,
Yeah.
which is great. Like
The
Doctor
political undertones about a lot of things. Like,
Yeah.
the more you watch it, the more you kind of pick up on.
I mean, blimey.
It's
like,
great commentary, actually.
Yeah, exactly. It was saying, like, they're trying to give across their image of their entire race just by a small select group of extremists.
Yeah, they've just... The extremists have made a decision and they're forcing everyone to go with it.
Exactly, and it's just, really powerful. Yeah, that was really great episode. And then we'll talk about the next episode in a second, but that was even more.
Yeah, and this whole idea that the two Osgoods and one of them obviously died in
Yeah.
the series finale last time. Although she seems to be the only person who died that day. Because everyone else is either already dead or Missy, and fuck you, Missy survives. Don't need
Danny
to explain
Pink died,
shit to
but-
you. Oh, well, no, he was already dead.
I like the sort of global feel it had to it.
Yeah, and like, they went, obviously one of them goes to Mexico, one of them goes to New Mexico, sorry, and one of them goes, and they go and they take that Air Force One plane again, which I could have lived without seeing that again, but...
Because for some reason the Doctor is president of the world.
Yeah, and he decided to take a plane there rather than anything else because reasons.
Yeah.
Although it would have been funny watching the Doctor and Osgood fly.
Fly
like with everyone else. Like the Doctor's like, I wanted a window seat.
It's because they wanted to do the cliffhanger, didn't they? With
Yeah,
Clara
cliffhanger
destroying a plane. Because if he just took the TARDIS like he normally would.
I think the cliffhanger was all right as well because like I suspected it a bit, but until it actually gets confirmed to you, you're like, is she? Is she not? Because spoiler alert, she's a Zygon. But if you're watching this, we've probably spoiled a lot of episodes for you by now. Sorry.
Some of them we might have improved.
I think it was bollocks slightly how Clara, trapped in that apartment mind palace thing, managed to divert the missiles.
That was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Like, because why can't every single trapped human do that? Why can't they just fuck up the Zygons?
Because Clara is a god, Phil, as we've already established from
Clara doesn't play by your rules.
Because Clara is just amazing, isn't she? Because, yeah. To get a well-rounded, good character, you just need to jam every single good attribute onto them.
She needs to be the closest thing to magic without being magic.
Exactly.
Like, she needs to be able to magically text with her eyes closed.
What a great Doctor companion combination when the Doctor is the down-to-earth one. Anyway, sorry, I'll stop yapping on. Actually, no, I'm not going to stop yapping on about Clara because we haven't even got to the finale yet. So.
Yeah, but in general, despite Clara's efforts, we did enjoy these episodes.
Oh, yeah. And the Zygon inversion, which we shall now move on to, was some brilliant bit of writing.
Yeah. Like, the Doctor gives a speech near the end, which is just genuinely really, really well written.
And actually, I preferred Zygon Clara's character. I thought that was better written than fucking real Clara.
Yeah.
Like, it proves that I haven't got anything against Jenna Coleman, because I thought she was good as the Zygon Clara. I think she was a great actor, and it was well written.
I think it's just the characterization of Clara is just a bit meh.
Yeah. I wanted the Doctor to carry on travelling with Zygon Clara, and then we could have just forgot about Clara.
Although I did like what happened to Zygon Clara. She became
that
Osgood.
last
Although it seems slightly messed up if you think about it too deep, that they just literally replaced Osgood. And the old Osgood was like, well, it's clearly a different person, but...
yeah. But
it's like coming home.
I don't know if
and finding someone that looks like your mum, but you know it's not your mum, because your mum left. She's gone to Australia to live with the surfing instructor.
This didn't actually happen to Phil, just to let you know.
I was implying it happened to you.
Oh, right. Didn't happen
But when
to me
she talks,
either.
it talks with like a deep voice, and you're like, you're not my mum, but oh well. You look like her, I guess.
This didn't happen to either. But yeah, really well written episode.
That's a terrible analogy.
I know. More politicalness. I liked the inclusion of that Zygon who wanted to stay as a human,
Hmm.
and then he was like forced to show his true self and stuff.
Yeah, and he like ran through, and he was caught on tape, and they're essentially trying to obviously create footage that they could use to show to other Zygons to show.
Yeah.
Like, oh look, we're not welcome here,
Yeah.
so we should invade.
It was I just really like those 2 episodes, and the last 15 minutes of the Zygon inversion was just wow.
Yeah.
Like, again, like simple, well written
I think
dialogue.
the Doctor and Osgood had good chemistry as well.
Yeah. I'm not fussed about Oscar as a character, but
See, I didn't care about when she was first introduced, but for some reason she was good in that episode, so now I think she's slightly better.
she showed a bit more character.
She's gone up in my rankings of characters.
Oh, good.
She's got more points. She's point scored. So, you know, that's good.
But no, that speech was just brilliant. Like, it was interesting, and like I know we go on about dialogue a lot and how like a good bit of dialogue can carry something, but this is an instance where it's genuinely true.
Yeah.
Like, without any gimmicks.
I mean, it was definitely the acting as well.
Oh yeah, the acting,
the delivery of the dialogue as well.
But there were no gimmicks. It was just straight up commentary on life, and it was just brilliant. Really enjoyed that.
It was really, really good.
Yeah. Nice and political.
Yes. So, sleep no more?
No? Sorry, bad joke.
I don't get it. Please explain the joke.
No, it's not really. It's not. Oh, I don't know.
We're ahead of time, so you've got a few minutes. You can explain the joke if you want.
No, it wasn't barely even a joke. Just trying to. I don't know.
Yeah, sleep no more.
Sleep no more. This was the
was...
found footage style one, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought it was alright.
Yeah.
I like the idea that they didn't win.
Yeah.
Like, the thing crashed to the planet, and the thing spread out. And it was just kind of left on a rather worrying note in that respect. And that, well, I suppose it might come back. They might explore the ramifications at some point, but I like that part of it, that the whole thing wasn't just solved. Although the rest of it, I want to say is rather forgettable, because I can't remember any of it.
No, I'm trying to think. It was found footage.
So I know it was the pod that meant you didn't have to sleep. But I remember, I think everyone I was watching that with agreed that even if you didn't have to sleep, probably would still sleep.
Yeah.
Because sleep is great.
I genuinely can't remember this.
And it's the whole idea that sleepy dust is literally, if you get slept...
Oh, there were monsters made out of sleep dust or something, weren't there?
Yeah, or this machine turned you slowly but surely into sleepy dust, and sleepy dust is just a monster.
Yeah. I like the fact that they sort of tried to do something differently with this episode. And it worked to a reasonable extent.
I think some of it was a bit silly, but I could forgive it mostly.
Yeah, and it was creepy at times. Yeah, it was quite interesting.
Yeah, and the Sandman music in it was used very well.
And I liked that line where she said, like, oh, we haven't got helmet cams. And then he picks up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at one point we switch to Clara's point of view, don't we? And we think, how have...
Yeah, as soon as it switched to Clara's point of view, I remember being like, wait.
Yeah.
I thought it was a production error.
Yeah, so did I. But then they... I liked that little bit. When
Maybe that's what they've been doing. They've been giving us this impression so that they can pull off tricks like that, and we'll think it's a production error, so that then they can zing us.
No, yeah, I quite liked that episode. But, yeah... Could have done with a little bit more to it. Oh, God, we're getting there now, aren't we?
Oh, are we done with that episode?
Well, I can't think of anything more to say about it.
No, I thought it was alright though.
Yeah.
Anyway, Face the Raven.
Face the Raven. Riggsy. This was Riggsy.
Yeah, that guy from Series 8,
yeah.
who I was the only person in the group that watched it who remembered him.
Yeah.
Everyone else said, who is that? Or kind of remembered but didn't really.
Cause for the casual viewer, like my housemates occasionally sort of watch it as well.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to be there a bit more now with this.
Although, I like the fact that now they're introducing characters and having rapport built with them on screen, and like in Matt Smith's era where the lizard lady was literally just introduced, and you were told the Doctor and her get along really well, so you're going to like her too. I mean, they ended up being decent characters. Well,
What, the lizard?
no, actually, no. Sorry, I spoke out of turn. They ended up being shit. They were just kind of, we're lesbians, and then that was it.
Yeah. And
Like,
it was such
it's not no problem with that. It's just like they were very wonderful.
Well, no, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're gonna...
And it was very silly how the fact that she just wore a very shit veil.
I know, and like, yeah, again, it's like, if you're going to create sort of strong representations of different groups of people and stuff as well, it's just like, don't make their characters... Their names in the script is probably Lesbian 1 and Lesbian 2. Because there's not much more to their characters.
Especially the maid character, the human.
I know, yeah. I mean, like, yeah. I really like good representations in some things, but like... And there was that previous Matt Smith one where... like there was those two blokes on that base and they were like, yeah, we're the gay couple or something.
Yeah, and they just acted incredibly gay.
Yeah, like they just said we're the gay couple and they thought that was a character and that's a good representation. Whereas like a better, when you want to get these good representations across, you get characters like Captain Jack.
Yeah.
Where he's got so much character. Like
I actually, I know you don't watch it, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. recently, I think would be the first gay character in the Marvel Universe. And he was introduced just as an everyday guy. Yeah. It was just dropped in his dialogue that he misses his boyfriend or something. Like,
yeah.
You wouldn't have guessed he was. Like in real life, you wouldn't. And no one really batted an eyelid because it's just normal.
I know. If like we want to move on as a society,
yeah.
The way to do that isn't by going this.
Isn't by making.
This is a character who is lesbian. Yeah. This is a character, and then we shouldn't give a shit whether.
Yeah, and it's also to make it
like you wouldn't point out if someone's straight.
Yeah, you wouldn't be like, hello, hello, I'm the devious mastermind Mark. I like women. Okay? I like women.
I mean, the thing you need to remember
unless I should stick and every single sentence ended with that. Although I think that character would have to be a comedy character.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to take him seriously.
But, I mean, like, no... Got to the point, no one cares whether someone's gay or not.
Yeah. Wow, that took a rather political turn, didn't it?
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Back to my original point is that...
What episode were we talking about? We weren't even talking about Vastra. We were talking about Face the Raven.
Well, the point I was trying to make is that the show nowadays has learned that you need to have adventures with these people and have the rapport built naturally rather than just kind of forcing it on. Because I never really felt any kind of rapport build with Vastra or Strax or... other lady.
Did you not? Not Strax.
No, funnily enough.
Your favourite character.
Him mistaking boys for girls got boring very quickly.
Oh.
But like characters like Riggsy, even though he did only appear once, it's the right way to do it. It's just to introduce them into a story.
And I like the fact that he got thrown into the deep of it.
Yeah, and even like Osgood and Kate, at first they may have just been introduced and like kind of pushed forward.
Yeah, we're us. Hello.
But they joined on adventures and you get to see more of them and you actually get to like them yourself rather than just being told this character's important.
You like this character.
Yeah.
She's called Kate. Yeah, it's quite a good episode. I quite like. This is one of the few ones where I actually quite liked Clara as a character because she really tries to be the Doctor, but it's shown that there's faults.
Yeah.
Like usually she just does things and she's amazing at it just because she's Clara. Whereas in this one, there were repercussions.
Yeah.
And like her confidence was flawed and it actually works as a character for once. You don't just think, oh, there's the perfect character Clara. You think, oh, this time she's tried to undertake something, but it's...
Yeah, it kind of also, like, for anyone who was watching and thinking that she was being too smart or too whatever, like, it was quite refreshing to have her be like, this is how it's going to play out, and then at the end then be like, no, you're going to die.
And like,
and her death scene was even quite good.
And
it was well directed.
I liked how she talked to the Doctor about
and
not getting revenge and stuff.
I mean, not that he listened, but
no. But I mean, I think that was a great exit for Clara.
Yeah, and
unfortunately though, it wasn't.
It wasn't, no.
Because they totally fucked it all.
I think the only thing I would say about Face the Raven is this is going back to how Stephen Moffat clearly quite enjoyed... Oh, wait, no, he didn't write this one. I was going to make something about how he saw Harry Potter and quite liked Diagon Alley. So I was like, let's do that as well. Let's have the Snake Man and Diagon Alley.
But no, I liked that episode, and I like the beginning bit where they tried to find it on the map, and they used another real world concept.
Yeah.
About what were they called, like fake
the fake roads.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're
for copyrights or something, and they
I like for sneaking in people's names and things like that, isn't it?
It was because they do it in map companies and stuff, so that other map companies don't just copy it.
Yeah.
Because if there's a road that doesn't, again, I think that was a nice real world.
Yeah.
Science fiction exploration. I liked that.
Yeah. I don't understand why half the aliens were in the thing. Like, I don't understand why there's Cybermen in the alley. But then I suppose if their inhibitor broke that made them follow like the hive mind, that's probably what they'd do.
But no, I really liked that episode, and again, I just thought it was a good ending for Clara. But we'll move on to Hellbent, the last episode, in a minute. But that should have been where Clara's journey stopped. Yeah. Because it was well written. It was.
And it ended on a nice cliffhanger as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because everyone's kind of fucked apart from Riggsy.
Yeah.
Riggsy, I think he must have just gone home.
He had an end credit scene for once, didn't he?
Did he?
Well, yeah. Did you know there was an end credit scene for that episode?
Oh.
It was where he put the graffiti on the TARDIS.
Oh, of course he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the yeah.
Again, that was a nice little touch.
Yeah, in memory of Clara. And
I'm so annoyed they brought Clara back because.
Well, we'll get to it.
Okay, all right, we'll get to that. Okay, but I'm really annoyed. Right, Heaven Sent.
If you can hear clicking, it is because we are reminding ourselves of the episode titles
and
by Wikipedia.
This was possibly my favourite of the series.
It was I think it was possibly my favourite of the series as well. It is genuinely a mystery, and it starts really well, and like the whole way it progresses is really good.
The menacing monster.
Yeah,
well written.
And like the whole thing where it goes into the Doctor's head when there's like a emergency.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that like the whole blackboard Clara helping him out, I like that. Purely when you appreciate that it's more an extension of his own psyche.
Exactly, yeah.
That he needs to show off to someone.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think that was another lovely sort of simply written episode. I mean, it wasn't simply written when I say that. I mean, it's well written without relying on gimmicks. Like, all the stuff that happened was sort of believable for the character.
Yeah.
They don't just sort of shove things in it for the point of it. I think it was all really well done.
And it was a relatively simple concept as well. Like, as much as obviously it's a very complicated thing, like the little castle in the pocket universe or whatever.
Oh, he had there's the thing from the first episode.
Confession.
The confession dial, yeah. That was quite a neat tie-in, actually.
Yeah. I think as much as like that was complicated in a conceptual sense, I think the idea that it was literally just him being chased around by a monster, and the fact that he was stuck there for a long time meant that he...
And it's called it was called long since that the confession dial, which you finally sort of find out it's not his confessions, it's literally getting him to confess.
Yeah.
It's not. I think it was a really clever bit of new stuff, new Time Lordy stuff that.
Yeah.
Genuinely added to the series. I think
there was literally only one plot hole I could think of, like major one, which is the fact that if the monster is the same monster the whole way through, then surely the same confession of the Doctor wouldn't work twice. Because when he dies and comes back, he must use the same one again.
Right, yeah.
Unless I think the monster comes back.
I think the monster resets.
It must reset because he's a separate person.
Because he wasn't even supposed to be reset. He just saved a copy, didn't he? And
yeah, he keeps on he uses his old life energy to bring himself back.
So I think that probably just sort of tricked the monster or whatever into...
Yeah, because he's a different, distinct being or whatever.
Yeah, and that's why...
I think that was the only thing I could think of.
And like the sort of pain at the end, the punching was a great image. It's just great.
And when they started speeding it up and speeding it up and speeding it up, and you get that what all the skulls are.
Yeah.
And you get why the extra change of clothes is there.
Yeah.
and all of these things start to make sense.
I mean, it's a quite simple concept, like the
in a
sort
sense,
of doing it again.
Things like the clothes go connect back to him explaining the bootstrap paradox.
Who put the clothes in? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really great episode. I really enjoyed it. And a great cliffhanger.
Yeah, because he exits and he's back on Gallifrey.
Exactly, yeah.
He's found it. That's a great way to lead into the finale.
Yeah.
Until the finale.
So we're back on Gallifrey with one of the most dramatic cliffhangers in a long time. And then... he's on Gallifrey and he eats some soup.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that was meant to be all very meta and supposed to make you think and imply things like, oh, are those his family or what is that? And why is he there? Blah, blah, blah. And then they turn up. Isn't that when the Time Lords just turn up with like a rocket ship and just fight, like, aim at him?
Yeah.
And the Doctor's reputation clearly goes, like, proceeds and whatever because he's just fine. He's like, no one does anything to him.
It was just really underwhelming, Gallifrey. Like, Rassilon's there, and then he's not. And then we get another sort of... what's the word I'm looking for? We get another sort of token character reference.
Yeah. So, I mean, supposedly... Yeah, it's a bit... The End of Time is a great story, but it kind of makes you wonder, after all that, why the Doctor would want to save the Time Lords.
Yeah.
Because that heavily implies
Also,
in the last days of the war, they became like war-hungry monsters.
Exactly. I haven't seen any of the bad Time Lordness so much, apart from Rassilon, really.
Yeah. And then Rassilon literally gets defeated in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If that. And then he gets stuck in a rocket and fired into space, doesn't he?
Something like that.
Something ridiculous. And then the Doctor's just in command of Gallifrey. Like, he's not made any reference to how happy he is at Gallifrey's
long time
days.
no see. Yeah. It's just sort of there, and then...
And he's just like, oh, I found it now. Don't really care. If I think about it, I didn't really care that much.
I know, it's like, it feels like, considering that's Gallifrey has been arguably a plot point, something we've headed towards.
Since the 50th.
Well, even since Series 1.
Yeah. Well, yeah, being the whole Time War thing, and then as soon as the Time Wars thing it was negated, essentially.
Yeah. Like...
And then it was just kind of overlooked. It was kind of used as a... There's another instance of a location being used, but not utilised.
There should have been something way more...
Like, we joke about Let's Kill Hitler earlier, but that had World War II Berlin, and they did fucking nothing with the setting.
Yeah.
They just fucked about for 45 minutes.
With the River Song.
This is almost... It's not as bad, but it's similar. They have Gallifrey, they have this whole planet where everything's changed, and... Like, there's all this infrastructure and things to explore. It's never been explored in New Who before. And literally, the Doctor doesn't give it any thought. He just... Like, the stuff that gets introduced to service the story does get decent explanation.
I wouldn't mind...
Like, the room with the maze, and, like, that bit with, like, the Daleks and stuff all, like, trapped.
For some reason, yeah. I don't know. It was
that stuff was all...
I
liked all that kind of imagery
They just glossed over Gallifrey, which was...
And then he just goes and saves... It all just essentially means that he just uses a magic chamber to save Clara.
Oh, it's terrible.
You'd think it'd have a better failsafe.
I know.
If it's just like, surely anyone who's there to say goodbye to loved ones would want to save them. If it was literally as easy as just kind of running out, surely they'd have had more incidents.
It's just... I really don't like how just all the attention just shifts to Clara all the time, and then it totally negates Face the Raven as an episode.
It belittles her death scene a little.
A lot. It belittles it a lot because I mean, it would have been a way more powerful image
if it would have been a more powerful image if
it builds up towards, if we have loads of time on Gallifrey and then it builds up towards him getting to that point
and
like,
not.
He could he could have mind games with the Gallifreyans to try and like say, I need to speak to Clara in order to get to the high ground.
Yeah, there'd been, because of like the Raven pursuing her through time and space, whatever. If that had just made it impossible for her to be
Yeah, or if
Or even if when he brings her back after all that, you can hear him getting more and more desperate to like save her and things, and she actually chose to just go back and die in the episode. She like decided to go back
rather than leave it,
rather than at the end being like, well, I have to go back eventually.
Yeah,
because apparently this is a really fucking good machine. Like it can just pull people, and then they. No, can
but I would have liked to see a shot of just like him. Maybe he's sort of there in the scene. Like, and it's all frozen still. The Raven and Clara and himself and everything, and he sort of goes in, and they sort of stop him or something, and he's just there having to watch it again. Like that would have been a more powerful shot. Like, and then
there were more powerful ways they could have gone. The way they went was clearly, obviously,
to literally bring her back. I just thought it was just such a
and have it to like it'd been more poignant for the immortal girl to see the end of the universe and then step in to obviously end her existence.
Yeah,
and it'd be more poignant for Clara to die. Having them both be like, yeah, we're gal pals, travelling across the galaxy, high five.
So why don't she stick with the Doctor if she's allowed to just take the long way back?
Because he forgot. Because one of them was
if she doesn't have to get back immediately to her death, if she's going to go travelling with Maisie Williams for a while, why don't she just do the same with the Doctor? Yeah, it was a very disappointing episode. And they sort of, I felt they made the same mistake as whatever last year's finale was called. They sort of set it up in the second to last episode with a really big cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then they sort of just like overlooked everything in favour of Clara.
I mean, it's not wrong to have a episode based revolving around a character, but it is
not the finale.
And it's also a large waste of a set and enemies.
I know, it's just like last series when the Cybermen and Missy were there together, and you think, bloody hell, shit's about to go down. But we spend most of the episode with Clara chatting to
Clara spends the Cybermen spend pretty much the entirety of the finale stood in a field.
Yeah, and
doing fuck all.
All we do is follow a conversation between Clara and Danny. And I know conversations can be written down well, but it wasn't that well for a start. And like, it's the finale, blow some shit up. I knew they'd blown a plane up, but it's just dull. It was just dull. And I think the same happened here. Like, you've got the return of Gallifrey, and yet that's skimmed over in 15-20 minutes. Apparently that was an extended episode as well. It lasted longer than most episodes, didn't it?
It was an hour.
I didn't even notice. Like, it was an hour of dullness.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I had to compare it to other, like, there have been worse finales and there have been worse episodes, but I think it was disappointing considering a lot of the rest of the series we had lots of good things to say about.
Yeah, and it's just a shame because it leaves a bit of a sour taste after an episode. But don't worry, because we've got the Christmas special
to round things off. Well, it might be around an hour.
Yeah.
That's good predicting, me. Christmas special was clearly very light-hearted and campy in its tone. Yeah. It was very nice imagery, actually. Well, it was nice, and it was a snowy Christmas place, and it was all it was set up almost like a pantomime.
Yeah.
It's just when the plot started, when things went downhill.
I just wasn't fussed.
I like Peter Capaldi's acting.
Yeah.
I thought Greg Davies was alright in it. He was good, and the head shouting in the bag was quite funny.
Yeah.
But you're just very...
Oh,
I can hear the pain coming from right down in your soul.
I did nothing. I took nothing away from that episode.
It was essentially just dotting the I's and crossing the T's and River Song's story, wasn't it?
I know, but like I think they rounded it off better when they just had a chat about it in Series 4.
The description of their last meeting
was more... her telling the Doctor about their last meeting was more powerful than us seeing their last meeting. Cause plus the fact that they got the details wrong.
Yeah.
I
mean, obviously the very, very easy hand wavy thing to do is like, well, maybe River Song intended to tell it wrong or something like that. Like, spoilers. Shh.
Yeah, she said like she didn't know why he was crying, whereas in this episode she did, and then like it wasn't the Doctor's sonic screwdriver. It's just he was like,
sonic screwdriver.
Where did I get this from? Why does it look like tens? I don't know, but here you go. For some reason, Happy Christmas. Yeah, it's just a lot of gibberish. Just a lot of like surely River would have recognised him as the Doctor.
I think even if she didn't, I think she would have picked up at least one of the many, many subtle hints he gave.
Yeah.
And as soon as he like started talking about why the TARDIS wasn't working or something like that, although that didn't really make sense. Because supposedly you couldn't cut something in half and take half of it with you. Like...
Cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can't go because we need all the cake in the TARDIS. Doctor, do you just want all the cake? Maybe. The TARDIS won't take off, see? Boo, 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 boo. Don't give me the rest of the cake.
Oh, and hang on. They set off... Oh, no, I suppose they did have the... I was going to say they had a hand in the TARDIS, but it was his hand, and he was in there at one point as well, didn't they? Or what if... I don't know, I'm trying to think of more examples which could disprove that, but I genuinely can't be bothered.
It was very much plot convenience.
Yeah, I can't be bothered.
It was very much...
to think about
we just
that.
took off and ran away now. Simple.
And how does he get in the TARDIS? Because isn't the TARDIS shielded or something?
I don't know.
I
But
honestly,
then they'd have been letting him in the TARDIS, though.
Oh, I can't.
So they can take off.
I can't even remember.
And then they decided to take him to a fancy restaurant. And lock him in the car park.
Yeah, it's just such a gibberish episode. I'm not even thinking... Because the thing is as well, like...
I liked it more than I thought it would, but I thought I was going to hate it. Like, I didn't hate it. I just didn't think it was very good.
It just doesn't feel like Doctor Who's going anywhere. Like, it's just... I don't get it. It was... it didn't do anything. It didn't move.
It did have good points.
It didn't move his story along for me. It didn't...
Yeah. But then the Christmas specials rarely do, unless it's your Doctor's last episode and you need to wrap up every single storyline from the last 4 years.
Yeah, true. We are no. It's just plus the fact that they fucked Gallifrey up, and like so now we don't even like know what he's doing. What is he doing? He's found Gallifrey. He's just
and he's settled things with River, and he's seen Clara off. He's literally got nothing left.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
I mean, it's interesting because it means there's a chance to start something new. But
yeah, but I didn't get it. And like, it's Christmas as well. Give us a fucking trailer for the next series or something, like they used to.
Yeah, but then they used to do the production and like
I know, but
the end.
I think that was probably what I looked forward to most. At Christmas specials, like
yeah, like I remember after the Christmas invasion, they showed the trailer for series 2, and it had like the Cybermen at the end, and I was like, oh, sick.
And at the end of that Titanic one, like, even though the Titanic Doctor Who special wasn't great, it had the series 4 trailer, which was just awesome.
Yeah.
So that's something like I know it's a really cheap way of giving the audience what they want, but. It just used to be something to look forward to, whereas now I literally didn't even watch it live for the first time on Christmas.
I did, but that's because there's nothing really on. It was a surprisingly, because I haven't been keeping up with a lot of stuff. There's surprisingly little to watch on Christmas Day for me. Like, I watched Doctor Who, and then I think it was like the finale of Downton, so I went and did something else.
Yeah, just didn't do anything for me. The special. Even like I actually.
Like the thing is, I'm down talking it very much. Like if I were to compare it to a different other River Song episodes, it'd probably come out favourably. I think personally. But
yeah, some of them.
Some of
definitely
them.
better than Let's Kill Hitler.
Oh yeah, but then
it
could have literally been like Peter Capaldi just blowing raspberries at Matt Lucas, like at the door of the TARDIS at the beginning. Like, are you the surgeon? And just going. And then whenever Matt Lucas tried to say anything, just Peter Capaldi going. That could have been a better episode. Like for literally 45 minutes of that.
I'd watch that. That'd be a better Christmas special. Yeah. We've actually gone in full circle back to Let's Kill Hitler.
This has been our look back at Doctor Who Series 9. I've been Haddo.
And I've been NGM.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Happy New Year.